Am I the bleep hole for telling my wife it's not "cute" for her to encourage our teenage daughter to expect her boyfriend to pay for everything in their relationship? Wife and I have been married 18 years. We have our 16-year-old daughter who has been dating a slightly shy, awkward young man for around 3 to 4 months now. He seems very nervous around my daughter and has admitted in a passing comment here and there to my wife and I that he can't believe she agreed to date him and he thinks she's way out of his league. He seems very respectful, just shy. My wife is usually an independent, awesome woman and her ideals align closely with mine, particularly in terms of feminism and equality. We have both striven to raise our daughter to be as independent and capable as possible. Since my daughter has been dating this kid, my wife has changed considerably and has given our daughter advice that has left me with raised brows more than once. Some of the advice I've heard my wife give is "oh, it's cute for boys to pay for everything, especially in your first relationship." Or "oh honey, don't worry about that, he can pay for you. If he really liked you, he wouldn't." Similar. I've tried to balance this out by telling my daughter straight away "two people in a partnership should be contributing equally," and my personal favorite "if someone asks if they can take you out to dinner, it's reasonable to expect them to pay, but if someone asks you to grab dinner with them, it's reasonable to split the payment." I figured that would be an easy way for a young person to understand the difference. However, I've noticed my daughter becoming more and more entitled with her boyfriend's money. They haven't been anywhere obviously since we're home, but the way she talks about him "oh, I'll just ask him to pay for X etc" leaves a bad taste in my mouth. She has also flippantly bragged/mentioned that she gets him to buy gift cards for her etc. by mentioning her mother's advice. That is "if you really liked me, you'd pay for X." I spoke to my wife privately and told her my concerns. She insists it's a rite of passage for girls and it's cute that she should feel a guy is completely spoiling her. I told her that it's not cute for her to be thinking it's acceptable to view relationships as personal ATMs, and my wife became very angry with me and is now calling me an asshole with a lot of hostility. It's not cute. Not the asshole. Your wife is tar. Your daughter is becoming tar. The boy also needs some guidance, but that probably shouldn't come from you. Edit. Read the responses to my comment. There are some good arguments that maybe you should consider talking to the boy yourself. I may have been wrong on that part, but you'll have to decide for yourself. None of us need to comment further. This is enough. I always paid my own way on dates. Because I was not for sale. Because if I kissed him, I wanted both of us to know it was because I wanted to, not because he paid for it with dinner or tickets to a show. Because I wanted friendship and love, not dependence and manipulation, and stupid games. What your wife is encouraging in your daughter is not cute, it's ugly and potentially dangerous. Not the asshole. Hell, I was raised in the dark ages and came to realize long ago that this is not cool. I'm a 61-year-old widowed female and would never insist a date pay unless he offered because something good came in financially. I was taught that the guy should pay, but there was always a little side lesson that the girl should order the cheapest thing on the menu. It's actually incredibly rude to order an expensive entree if you know someone else is paying, something that women like in the op like to forget. But I do not like salad, and I refuse to be limited to the cheap side of the menu. I decided early on it would be better for everyone if I ordered whatever the fuck I wanted and paid for it myself, so I wouldn't feel guilty for ordering the steak. And by the way, it has always been rude for women to demand gifts from men. That is not old-fashioned. It's shitty, rude, and entitled. Actually, I seem to recall that women used to be expected to refuse an expensive gift because of the implication they might feel pressured to do things. I was taught to refuse jewelry, for example, unless I was already engaged. I decided early on it would be better for everyone if I ordered whatever the fuck I wanted and paid for it myself, so I wouldn't feel guilty for ordering the steak. Amen. You have to stay hungry just because someone else is paying? Fuck that. I'm gonna eat how I always eat. Don't pay if you can't afford it. I'll cover it myself. I was raised this way and it's fucked up. Yeah, it's rude to order the market price entree on someone else's dime, but I'm also worth more than the soup and salad combo. Also, it used to be that courtesans, high-class escorts of the Renaissance, got loads of jewelry from clients, but that was basically her 401k. After she got too old to courtesan, and if she didn't have a daughter she could induct into that life, she'd live on the proceeds of selling the jewelry. That might be another reason good girls were discouraged from accepting jewelry from sweeteners. Encouraging her daughter to exploit her BF financially, and being a fierce, independent woman whose ideals align with yours on feminism and equality do not compute. Maybe she is not as fierce and independent as you thought. I'm wondering if Op is now realizing that he is in fact a walking ATM to the women in his life. There's a lot of lack of insight to be had. This could very well be. Maybe. Then again, women are sort of taught this is appropriate in the beginning of the relationships, to use this as a test for how noble or not sleazy a guy is, and that they aren't a jerk just using you to get in your pants. Growing up, my mom always taught me a guy should pay for dates, especially in the beginning, because it means he actually values you. It sucks, it's sexist, etc, but it is what is taught to many girls by not just their moms, but their dads too. My mom is, and always has been, a very independent woman. She raised us solo, since my dad was an alcoholic who would pop back into the family dynamic, and she'd actually be the one to support him financially, since he couldn't hold a job. Now she's been remarried for 18 years and they have a very financially independent relationship, taking turns paying for dinners, vacations, etc. I wouldn't doubt, however, if for the first few handful of dates she expected him to pay. Not saying it's right or anything, but you can still be pretty feminist while still holding some older skewed views, especially if you grew up with them. Like my mom grew up in the 70s. Most women in her life were bleep hole moms, or did side jobs. Men typically made more money, so it just made sense for them to pick up the bill. Times have changed drastically in the last few decades and people are still catching up to the new norms. Not the asshole. Ask your wife how she would feel if his dad told his son if she really liked you, she'd. You get the idea. This. Op, you need to state this explicitly to your wife, and not with internet ellipses that leave any room for doubt. How would she feel if the boyfriend's dad told him that if your daughter really liked him, she'd give him a blowjob, or have sex with him, or try something else sexual that she's not comfortable with? Because that's the path you're setting someone on by making affection measurable and transactional. No, not cute. You sir are not the asshole. Your wife and daughter however are. Honestly, I'd call a family meeting and sit down with both of them and explain how damaging this attitude of entitlement can be, both for her and the boys she's going to exploit. If things don't change, give that poor boyfriend of hers a heads up. If he's a good kid, he doesn't deserve to be used. If she doesn't actually care about him beyond his wallet. We need this guy to see this. If I award a post, it moves it up right. Yup, has always been my go-to response when this has come up. Anytime there's been someone arguing that it's the man's job to pay for everything, I just say, so you have sex with him anytime he wants, right? If you're going to go with outdated and idiotic gender roles, you best take them all. Otherwise, let's get back into this century and treat everybody like a person, not a dispenser of money or sex. Put this at the top. IDK if I would call the daughter and bleep hole at this point. It sounds like she's never had a relationship before and is getting all her info from other teens. Not a great source for healthy relationships. And her mom, who seems to have some sort of hang up on this topic. Unfortunately, the wow, look at all the things my man bought me. Get you a man who spoils you like this. Mindset is still really prevalent, especially on social media targeted at teens. It takes some maturity to realize That it's not healthy to be in a relationship that's all take and no give. If she continues the behavior after being told that it's wrong, then sure, but at this point she just doesn't know any better. I agree. Teenagers are still developing, and equal respect in relationships isn't exactly portrayed well in the media. She shouldn't be expected to understand how healthy adult relationships work when she isn't an adult. She is being led astray, and I'm sure mom's advice plays into the messages she is receiving from the media around her. It's mom's job to give her the good advice, not the bad advice, not the asshole. This is teaching her to be financially dependent on men and creating a sense of entitlement. Also, assuming he's around her age, it's very unreasonable to expect a 16-year-old to have money to pay for everything of hers in the first place. I was thinking of this. I remember in early relationships the boy paid for the majority of dates, but I would always try to chip in. He takes me to a movie and I buy popcorn. I believe that certain families and areas still encourage this behavior as a culture, and I remember feeling special and boys actually being offended by not being allowed to buy you dinner, etc. But gift cards are taking it way too far.